Sravajaya Empire. The Sravajaya Empire was a dominant maritime power based in Southeast Asia that thrived between the 7th and 13th centuries. Its trading network spanned the Indian Ocean and South China Sea, and it had a significant impact on the cultural and economic development of the region. There is evidence to suggest that the Sravajaya Empire had trading relations with the Philippines before the arrival of Spanish in the 16th century. The Philippine archipelago was located on the maritime route between the Sravajaya Empire's capital city of Palembang and China, which was a major market for Sravajayan traders. The Sravajaya Empire's trading relations with the Philippines were primarily focused on the exchange of goods such as gold, pearls, and other valuable commodities. The Philippines was known for its abundant sources of gold, which was highly valued by Saravajayan merchants. In exchange, the Sravajaya Empire offered goods such as textiles, ceramics, and spices. There is also evidence to suggest that the Sravajaya Empire had a significant influence on the culture and society of the Philippines. The Saravajayan traders are believed to have introduced Hindu and Buddhist concepts on the Philippines, which had a lasting impact on the region's religious and cultural practices. The Majapahit Empire was a dominant power in Southeast Asia from the late 13th to the early 16th century. The empire was located in present-day Indonesia and had extensive trading relationships with the neighboring countries, including the Philippines. The trading relationship between the Majapahit Empire and the Philippines was based on a system of barter, where goods were exchanged without the use of currency. The Philippines was known for its abundant resources including gold, pearls, and exotic tropical products such as spices, cotton, and textiles. The Majapahit Empire, on the other hand, had a large surplus of salt, which was a highly valued commodity at the time. The Majapahit also traded textiles, ceramics, and other goods. The trading relationship between the two regions was facilitated by the sea routes between the Indonesian archipelago and the Philippines. These routes were used by traders to transport goods and establish trade relationships. The trade between the Majapahit Empire and the Philippines was not only limited to goods but also extended to cultural exchange. The Majapahit had significant influence on the culture and society of the Philippines. This was due to the empire's vast trade network and the spread of Hinduism and Buddhism, which were practiced by Majapahit. This influence can be seen in art, architecture, and religion of the Philippines. The Brunei Sultanate had a trading relationship with the Philippines before the Spanish occupation in 16th century. The relationship between Brunei and the Philippines was primarily centered on trade, with Brunei's access to spices and ceramics and textiles from China, and the Philippines' abundant natural resources such as gold, pearls, and exotic woods. The relationship between two nations dates back to the 10th century when the Brunei Sultanate was a major trading power in Southeast Asia. The Brunei Sultanate established a trading post in what is now called Manila in the 14th century, and this trading relationship continued until the Spanish occupation of the Philippines in the 16th century. Trading between Brunei and the Philippines was conducted through the use of trade ships known as kelongs or balangay, which were designed for trading and fishing. These vessels were equipped with sails and could travel long distances, allowing traders to conduct business throughout the region. The Brunei Sultanate also sent envoys to the Philippines to establish diplomatic relations and promote trade. The Brunei Sultanate's trading relationship with the Philippines was significant because it helped to connect Southeast Asia to the larger trading networks of Asia. It also contributed to the spread of Islam in the Philippines, as many traders from Brunei were Muslims, and introduced the religion to the local population. The trading relationship between Brunei and the Philippines was an important precursor to the later Spanish colonization of the Philippines, which would have a profound impact on the region's history and culture. China had trading relationship with the Philippines long before the Spanish arrived in the archipelago in the 16th century. Chinese traders who were primarily from Fujian province regularly visited the Philippines to engage in trade. The Chinese traded with the Filipinos for a variety of goods including gold, pearls, precious stones, beeswax, and cottons. In exchange, they brought goods such as silk, porcelain, and ceramics, as well as luxury items like perfumes and spices. The Chinese traders established settlements in the Philippines, particularly in Manila, which was a busy port city that served a hub for trade in Southeast Asia. They formed communities called Sanglays, which was a term used to describe Chinese immigrants. The Sanglays live in their own quarters within Manila and they maintain their own customs and traditions. They were generally well respected by Filipinos who viewed them as skilled traders and artisans. The Chinese traders also had a significant impact on the Philippine culture, particularly in the areas of food and language. Many Filipino dishes have Chinese roots, and many Filipino words are derived from Chinese.
India. The trading relationship between India and the Philippines existed long before the Spanish occupation. Indian traders has established a commercial network throughout Southeast Asia, and the Philippines was no exception. Indian merchants were known to have traded with the ancient kingdoms of the Philippines, such as the Kingdom of Tondo. Indian traders primarily traded spices, textiles, and precious stones, which were highly valued commodities in Southeast Asia. They would sail from the western coast of India to the eastern coast of the Philippines, making stops in various ports along the way such as Malacca, Borneo, and Sulawesi. From the Philippines, they would also trade with China, Japan, and other neighboring countries. The Indian traders were highly respected in the Philippines and were known for their business acumen and cultural influence. They brought with them not only goods but also ideas, beliefs, and customs. Indian traders were instrumental in spreading Hinduism and Buddhism in the Philippines, and some even married local women, resulting in the creation of a new culture that blended Indian and Filipino traditions. Japan. Prior to the Spanish occupation of the Philippines in the 16th century, Japan and the Philippines has an active trading relationship. Japanese traders known as the Nanban had been visiting the Philippines as early as the 1570s to trade with the Filipinos. The Japanese bought goods such as copper, silk, silver, swords, and pottery, while the Filipinos traded with them gold, pearls, beeswax, and various forest products. The Japanese also introduced new technologies to the Filipinos, including firearms and the art of pottery making. The two countries also shared cultural exchange. Many Japanese artists, missionaries, and traders visited the Philippines during this period, and some even settled there. The Filipinos learned the Japanese language, while the Japanese learned the Tagalog language and adapted some aspect of Philippine culture. However, this trading relationship was interrupted with the arrival of the Spanish colonizers in the Philippines in 1565. The Spanish sought to monopolize trade with the Philippines and Japanese, which led to the conflicts with the Japanese traders. The Spanish eventually expelled the Japanese from the Philippines in 1593, effectively ending their trading relationship. Despite this, the influence of Japanese culture and technology remained in the Philippines, particularly in the southern islands. The Filipinos continued to use Japanese swords and pottery making techniques, and many words from the Japanese language were integrated into the Filipino language. the Spanish occupation, the Philippines and Malaysia, then known as Malaya, had a long history of trading relations. The two regions has a thriving maritime trade network with merchants and traders traveling by the sea to exchange goods such as spices, textiles, ceramics, and other valuable commodities. Malaysia and the Philippines shared many similarities in terms of culture, language, and religion. This helped to facilitate trade between the two regions as traders were able to communicate and understand each other's customs and practices. In particular, the Sulu archipelago, which is part of the Philippines, played a significant role in the trade relationship with Malaysia. The Sulu Sultanate, which ruled over the region, had a strong trading network with neighboring states, including Malaysia. The Sulu Sultans acted as intermediaries in the trade between the Philippines and Malaysia, providing a secure and efficient trading system. The trade relationship between Malaysia and the Philippines was characterized by mutual benefit and cooperation. Both regions were able to exchange goods and services that were in demand, creating a dynamic and thriving economy. The trade relationship was also a catalyst for cultural exchange, as merchants and traders brought with them their traditions and practices, enriching the cultural fabric of both regions. Indonesia. Prior to the Spanish occupation, Indonesia, formerly known as the Dutch East Indies, and the Philippines has a long history of trade relations dating back to at least 9th century. These trade relations were mainly based on maritime trade, with merchants from both countries traversing the waters of the Malay archipelago to exchange goods and services. The trade relationship between Indonesia and the Philippines was centered on the exchange of natural resources, such as spices, golds, and precious stones. Indonesia in particular was known for its abundant supplies of spices such as cloves, nutmeg, and cinnamon, which were highly valued in Europe and other parts of the world. In exchange for these valuable commodities, merchants from the Philippines traded textiles, ceramics, and other manufactured goods. The Philippines was also known for its abundant supply of golds, which was used as currency in main parts of the region. Trade between the two countries was conducted through a network of trading ports, with major ports in the Indonesia including Malacca, Aceh, and Makassar, while the Philippines has port in Manila, Cebu, and Butuan.